Hello, everyone. My name is Paul. I am known as the Black AK, and you're welcome to the amazing episode of Btrust in Focus. Today, we're having interviews with different amazing individuals who have at one point in time interacted with the amazing organization Btrust. And today, I have with me the amazing, the legendary Lucas Ferreira. Lucas, it's nice to meet you. How are you doing?
Nice to meet you, Paul. I'm doing good. I'm really excited about, we just did the Btrust gathering, and tomorrow we have Btrust Dev Day and then Africa Bitcoin Conference. It's my second Africa Bitcoin Conference.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Awesome. So, we're just going to start from the beginning directly. And I'm sure the audience wants to know, how did Lucas get into Bitcoin and how did you get into open source development?
Okay, so initially, I came to going a little bit back. I was an undergraduate in social sciences, and then when I left, I was looking for something I didn't see the academia as something I could pursue as a viable career path for me. So I started pursuing what would be a career where a big part of my job would be learning and sharing the things I learned.
Awesome.
Sharing the things I learned and creating community. Even during college, I was the person organizing the social sciences week, and I founded a magazine.
Oh wow!
For all the undergrads to publish their first research, and then when I joined Bitcoin, initially I started interviewing because I actually started a YouTube channel, but I was very, I don't know, feeling some imposter syndrome. Because it was 2017 to 2018, end of 17 to beginning of 18, and it was I don't really know much. And some people were in this ecosystem since 2012, 2013. So what I did is I started interviewing these people in different conferences in Brazil. And at some point I was hired by an Argentinian exchange that was entering the Brazilian market. And then it was a very good experience for me, 2 years of a very open role in terms of all the experiences I got to have in terms of marketing and product and community. And then at some point, the life-changing moment for me was going to the Bitcoin conference in 2019 in San Francisco, the conference that Bitcoin Magazine organizes.
Okay.
Now they're doing it in Vegas. They used to do in Miami, then Nashville, but the first one that I went to was in San Francisco. And there I got to be in touch with my first BitDevs, and it was a magical BitDevs. For anyone who has gone to a BitDevs, in a BitDevs we usually discuss 10 to 12 topics that are the most recent discussions in the mailing list or in forums. And usually when you're in a normal BitDevs, in our cities in Brazil and Africa, although in Brazil it's getting even better and better, in the terms of all the contributors from Brazil.
Yeah.
But usually you read a mailing list email and then someone else discusses it. In that BitDevs, the person who wrote the email was there, and the person who wrote the proposal was there. So it was very fun. So I came back to Brazil with two different dreams. And that's, I think, kind of what we're going to discuss here. One dream was to organize a conference like that and bring some of that experience to my community in Brazil. And second, I wanted to fund a developer who would work in Bitcoin Core. At that point, I was not thinking Bitcoin open source in general. I was thinking I want a Bitcoin Core developer from Brazil. I was even naive. I thought I'm going to organize a conference. The conference will be profitable enough for me to fund. No, it was so naive. I'm losing money with the conference, actually.
Normally with conferences like that, yes, there's always that part of losing money because it is the first time you're doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure from that one, a lot of things have actually come through. So, I'm interested in knowing about this life of social sciences that you lived, because I pegged you for a science guy. I'm talking chemistry, physics, but social sciences, that's on another end. But we'll talk about that on another point. I would like to jump into what you started after that conference itself, Vinteum, and what led you to start it? How did you guys come about it? And how is it so far in relation to the Latin American market?
Yeah, so at that point when I came back to Brazil, I was still at the exchange, Argentinian exchange. I worked for a brief moment at Paxful, a peer-to-peer platform, but then I was hired. Like
You worked at Paxful?
yeah, yeah.
I did too.
Oh, really? Oh.
We were like the Nigerian team at some point, but no, that's not what we're discussing. Carry on.
So, but like when I came back to Brazil from that conference, I started pursuing the dream, one of the dreams, which was the conference. But I started with a local meetup, and the first meetup that I organized, like because before I started, I contacted the person who was organizing BitDevs SF. Okay. And then I went to like Google it a little more, and I found that the BitDevs New York was even older. And I contacted the organizers of BitDevs New York, and then Andre Neves is one of the hosts of BitDevs New York. This is a Brazilian name. Like, who's this guy? And then I started and he's now my co-founder for Vinteum. But my conversation with the other BitDevs guy, the SF BitDevs, with Alex Leishman at that point, he said, Elizabeth Stark is going to be in Brazil in like 2 months. So you should do your first meetup with her. And then I organized the meetup with Elizabeth Stark, and it was not only Elizabeth Stark, it was the whole team at Lightning Labs, because it was one of their offsites.
Offsites, yeah.
And then they really liked the meetup that I organized. I kept in touch. I started like reaching out to them when I had like BIPA, the Brazilian, the biggest Brazilian Bitcoin only exchange or wallet. When they wanted to integrate Lightning, I contacted them, connected them with Lightning Labs, and then I connected a few other people. I organized like clubhouses, because the other thing is like I did the Lightning Labs meetup, and then COVID started. So all my plans of like for conference and meetups had
to be on pause.
Yeah, they had to be on pause. But I met the whole Lightning Labs team, established a relationship with them, and a few months later, I started working at Lightning Labs, and I spent maybe almost 3.5 years working at Lightning Labs. And at the same time, while still at Lightning Labs, as a side thing, I started both Satsconf and Vinteum, two different projects. They were initially, I was doing it on the side, and then I left Lightning Labs last year, and now I'm doing full-time Vinteum and Satsconf. So Satsconf was then, I found someone like a good production team and started it. Now we had 4 editions already since like 2022, 2023, 4 and 5. And then Vinteum, it started as like me helping some Brazilian developers get into Bitcoin open source. And then I found Bruno. Bruno started contributing to Bitcoin Core, and then okay, now I need to find funding for Bruno. So initially it started as just looking for funding for Bruno, but then once I got the first initial commit, I said, well, why not look for more funding, and then we can train more Brunos. And then that's how Vinteum started. I contacted Andre Neves again, and he helped me organize the structure of the organization and helped me with some fundraising. And we got some great sponsors in the beginning who are still supporting our mission together with Btrust and others.
Awesome. I mean, I think one core thing you've mentioned so far, or one core thing that connects all the conversation, is the fact that you need to associate yourself with other people who are like-minded, and being able to just say, you know what, I need to be able to bring this people up, bring this person up, because I mean, you with Bruno and all other Brunos that have been funded so far is what's pushing Vinteum ahead. So what would you say a day-to-day activity is like in Vinteum? Okay,
there are a few. So now we have a hacker house in São Paulo, like a physical space where we gather some parts of the community. So we do workshops there, our residencies are there, and meetups like constantly. We do a BitDevs São Paulo there. And then we started like flying some people over to São Paulo to attend São Paulo BitDevs. Then they started their own BitDevs. Now we have 6 cities in Brazil with BitDevs meetups. So we support those BitDevs. We support the day-to-day operations of the Casa Vinteum, which is a hacker house. And then we have all the educational programs, and those educational programs have both like synchronous meetings and then assignments. We need to review assignments. I have a team, of course, to help. And then we do a lot of like outreach. We're doing the Bitcoin student days in different universities in Brazil to like talk some Bitcoin technicals to them, and then they end up coming to our pipeline for the programs. What else? It's like on the Satsconf side, organizing the conference takes the whole year. Like it's a very big endeavor, a very difficult endeavor. Even like it's expensive. It's a lot of work. I'm even like in a moment of like reflection of what's going to happen with Satsconf in the next year, because I'm almost like burnt out.
Nah, don't worry. We got you. Just plug me in. and I'll take over Satsconf.
Wow, nice. Okay. Okay, Paul is the new organizer of Satsconf.
Just calm down. We'll have to sit back and discuss that later. But funny enough, what you just mentioned leads us into the next question because, I mean, you're one man who's doing Vinteum, Satsconf, having about 6 BitDevs you're running across major cities in Brazil. It makes me wonder, what are some of the challenges you faced so far in building this thing up? And has there anyone that's stuck out to you so much? Or just take us on a journey down the challenges you faced in building this.
Honestly, I feel like the Vinteum journey has been way smoother than the Satsconf journey because I really got to attract so many great talent in the developer ecosystem. We got to train so many great minds. So I have a lot of help. Like all the BitDevs are run by like some of either our grantees or people who pass through our programs, alumni. The Vinteum journey has been smoother. Also, Vinteum has more money because it has like fundraising from Wences and from John Pfeffer, from Btrust, from OpenSats. So it's been easier on that front, although there are still a lot of challenges, especially like figuring out like the best way to position new developers into projects without burdening the maintainers of this project. So we're being very careful. Like we're trying to like do the best we can, training these people without even touching the project before starting to like, because when someone new comes to a project, it's like a lot of work to the maintainer too. Yeah. Sometimes new people coming to a project is like more work and not less work. It's more work for the maintainer.
More people to handle,
And then on the Satsconf front, it's a lot more difficult because it's like Satsconf is a broader event. It's not only a technical event. It's more like Africa Bitcoin Conference, like a general gathering of the community. And it started as like, it started already kind of big with 500 people, but then it grew and grew. And now we have like 1,200 people at the last edition. And it's a very expensive event. So we kind of my fault because I'm super perfectionist and I feel like the community deserves like a really professional production. I even like had some like compliments from people like from international speakers saying that Satsconf has a production level similar to like BTC Prague or Bitcoin Conference in Vegas. So it's really and on the Satsconf side, I feel like I still have a hard time like delegating. Like it's kind of like my baby with like all the different pieces together, like putting all those pieces together. Like it starts growing and growing, and then like more speakers to talk with, like 80, 90 speakers that came, and then like all the sponsors, 15 to 20 sponsors. It's so many pieces, and I think I got like this year I got to improve my delegation skills on the marketing and communication side of things. And then on the production side of things, I think I always had a good partner. But then now it's like even the part of like the curation and like the leading the ideas or the idealization of the event itself and the sponsorship gathering, all the sales, all stuff. That's still a lot on me. So I'm now in the process of like figuring out what's next. Like at the last event in my closing statements, I said, hey, usually I end the event with, Satsconf 2026 is gonna happen. This is the date, and people get happy, etc. But like last year in 2024, I lost a lot of money personally with Satsconf. It got bigger, it got more expensive, and then 2025 I was gonna lose money again. But then I did like a fundraising, like a crowdfunding thing during the event, during the closing statements. Then I got to break even with donations from the audience.
Oh, awesome!
But the financial side is just one of the aspects that are making things like making me struggle. So I also opened like a forum and like I want feedback from the community and like people want to offer help. Now like people are reaching out to me, like either people offering like more support in terms of financial sponsorship, but also people offering support and help organizing the event. Now I need to figure out what's the best model for like organizing the event, like and really like the conference is really important for the community. They want me to keep doing it. So maybe what I need to learn now is how to turn this conference concretely more like the conference of the Bitcoin community in Brazil, and not the conference of Lucas, you know?
Yes.
Like the community already feels like it's the conference of the Bitcoin community in Brazil, but I think it needs to be concretely a conference like where everyone participates on, and it's difficult to figure out what's the best model to like get everyone like.
You know, the funny thing is, I totally get how you feel because I mean, you started it; it's your baby. So
yeah,
you know how parents feel when their children are old and they're like, you don't have to go or letting their child go. But I guess, as you mentioned, when there's that support, it sort of makes things easier and gradually it just gets better. I feel like I know you have people behind you who are telling you it's going to get better. So it's definitely going to get better. And I want to tap into that support aspect. And that's basically, we would like to know how the relationship has been between Vinteum and Btrust, how this relationship started, the benefits of it, and after that we'll just take a few more questions and we're done.
Yeah, of course. So like I follow what since Jack and Jay-Z like announced the first like donation and like the announcement like that they were looking for board members, I follow what Btrust is doing, and I was like already knew all the maybe at least. Oh, maybe 3 of the 4 board members are new before like they Btrust started. Like I had relationships with them. Carla was even like my colleague at Lightning Labs. And since then, I had a good relationship of exchange of ideas and experiences with them. In terms of like the financial support, it came a bit later, but not their fault. It was mostly because at some point in I think 2022, they like sent me an email saying, "Hey, send a proposal for." An educational program, and we did have some educational initiatives at that point, but it was still at full-time. Like I had a full-time job at Lightning Labs and like doing Satsconf, and then I think I like procrastinated a bit, like sending a proposal because I was not completely confident that I could execute on a very like a more structured program. The structured like the actual structured program only came end of last year when I like after I left labs. Then I had all the ideas already like draft and all I had the program almost like ready, but then I didn't have the confidence to execute, and so I didn't ask for money. And at that point, they were just looking for funding my educational initiative, an educational program. So I didn't really send any proposal. I did have funding from other sources for the grantees that I had. The other thing that happened is I found, like, besides leaving labs, I also found Professor Edu, who is a professor at University of Brasilia. He came for one of our BitDevs, and then we started a relationship. Like, he was actually like thinking about leaving the university and like pursuing an engineering career, but I convinced him that he could be a good ally in the academia to like actually like a Troy horse, like bringing Bitcoin research
into the university section. Yeah.
So, and then he also started like supporting my programs and helping lead the educational initiatives and curriculum. Of course, it's all like open source education. So a lot of what we do in terms of the curriculum and the structure of the program is inspired by things like Chain Code and all the other programs like Bichala, B4OS, and Btrust. So it's like a combination of different like inspirations, like some of our own input, like which we also upstream to the other programs. So it's like basically like a very collaborative environment in terms of the different organizations.
Yes. So Lucas, so looking forward, what's the vision for Vinteum and the entire Latin America in general?
Yeah, so we had some like great results with our first cohort of our program. We're doing it again. We're in the middle of it, and then we're gonna have a residence in February. It's gonna be interesting because it's gonna be at the same time at the same place as the B4OS residency. So hopefully getting some of our residents to establish relationships with the rest of the Latin American developers. We're bringing our grantees and the residents from the last edition too. And like so many new developers now are working in Bitcoin from Brazil. Like we there's even the joke, the Brazil Bitcoin Mafia, because we're everywhere in terms of like different projects have Brazilian contributors, like all the technical conferences have Brazilian attendees and developers. So we're also doing more on the research front, like planning to do more on the research front with Edu, with the University of Brasilia. He's partnering with MIT to do he's actually finishing a course, like a 4-credit course at the university, like with many like tens and tens of like engineering students that are taking the class on the Bitcoin protocol. Like a lot of them are applying for programs later. So next year we plan to do more actual research with a lab that Adil is going to start at the university. Also collecting some research around Bitcoin that already exists and establish a relationship with other universities with the student days. So the future for Brazilian Bitcoin development and Latin America as a whole is very fruitful. I expect very promising things coming from there. Like we also have like a project that started in Brazil called Floresta, started by Davidson, one of our grantees. And Floresta is a light Bitcoin client based on UTXO and proof of work fraud proof. So it's a very accessible way of running a Bitcoin node because you can run it in like very cheap hardware. So it's very, yeah, I'm very excited about like what's coming in 2026.
Awesome. I mean, I'm not even in Brazil and I'm already excited for what's coming in 2026 for Brazilians over there. And honestly, like this entire conversation has led, it's been one of collaboration, it's been one of growth, it's been one of development, it's been one of connecting people, seeing other things happen. And if you're in Brazil or if you're in the Latin America space, Vinteum is one to look out for. What is happening in the academic space is also one to look out for. And I must say it's been an amazing one having this interview with Lucas. Thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time, see you. Bye.